Homecoming festivities come to a close. We have the updates on this week's final events, as well as football coverages with sports director Elena Emery.
And with the 2016 presidential election has officially come to an end, a new president will be inaugurated. How UT feels about the entire election process this year.
Plus, as UT searches for a new chancellor, the position candidates are coming to campus, who will possibly take over Jimmy Cheek's position. All that and more coming up. Welcome to another episode of TVC News. I'm Cayla Graner.
And I'm Rowlett. But with screams and cheers, one UT tradition made itself heard throughout campus this week.
TVC's Molly Yeager has the latest on how this event has student organizations show their UT pride.
Greek organizations on campus came together this past Thursday to celebrate the 100th anniversary of homecoming through Smokey's Howl, a homecoming cheer competition.
Dancing, cheering, and even trumpet playing. Every year, hundreds of students look forward to participating in Smokey's Howl. The annual competition has been a tradition at University of Tennessee since the 1990s and consists of rigorous tryouts and weeks of practice for the organizations involved. 5 teams comprised of fraternity and sorority pairs made it out to the finals, with Pi Beta Phi and Beta Theta Pi proudly pulling out the W. Hannah Bird, an Alpha Chi Omega here at UTK, enjoys the sense of community that homecoming events like Smokey's Howl create among students.
Smokey's Howl is basically just a cheerleading competition to get everybody really excited about the game on Saturday. It's a way to really get some UT spirit out on campus.
Gamma Sigma Sigma, a service sorority, and Phi Mu Alpha, the music fraternity, became an instant crowd favorite by incorporating a trumpet into their routine.
Creativity is always encouraged here at UT, and events like Smokey's Howl are a great opportunity for students to enjoy showing off their talents while supporting their university. Back to you at the desk.
The parade featured the Little Vols, the Shiners, Greek organization floats, and this year's first year of Rocky Top royalty. The Chancellor, President Grand Marshal, and the Student Governor had special Corvettes to take them through the parade route. The parade started behind Fraternity Park and made its way around Andy Holt and back around to the Rock. The MC this year was the Dean of Students, Melissa Shivers. The parade went down in history, and we can only wait to see if next year's will top it.
On top of the Homecoming Week fun, Homecoming Day offered much more for students to do. Many student organizations offered tailgates for students and alumni to attend. The Pride Center hosted an LGBT alumni tailgate, inviting past members of the Pride Center to join. The College Republicans hosted GOP nominee Diane Black at their annual homecoming tailgate. HGTV tiny houses were also there for visitors to walk through and see what it's like living in a tiny home. Many other organizations participated, inviting alumni back home to campus. Well, the search for a new chancellor to replace Jimmy Cheek is well underway.
And students are getting their first looks at candidates who can possibly represent the university in the future.
The 3 remaining candidates have been traveling the campus over the past 2 weeks, talking to students and sharing their policies with campus. The candidates still in the running include Alexander Cartwright, Provost and Executive Vice Chancellor at the State University of New York, Beverly Davenport, a professor at the University of Cincinnati, and Pamela Whitten, Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs and Provost at the University of Georgia. Current Chancellor Jimmy Cheek is leaving office this semester and will be officially replaced with the new candidate in the spring. This week, UT students got the chance to take a break from all the election chaos and come out to HSS to listen to Professor Andy McIntosh speak about atheism.
TVC reporter Shay Murphy has more on the event and how students were able to learn more about worldview.
This past Monday, the Collegians of Christ welcomed Professor Andy McIntosh to give his lecture, A Skeptical Look on Atheism.
On Monday, in HSS from 8 to 9 p.m., the Collegians for Christ invited Professor Andy McIntosh to speak to UT students.
There is no coherence in atheism when it comes to the science. There isn't any coherence to the atheism when it comes to logic and rationality. There isn't really the consistency and coherency in even understanding why, what is meaning, what is truth.
Professor McIntosh is an esteemed professor of thermodynamics and combustion theory in the Fuel and Energy Department at the University of Leeds in England. McIntosh's lecture attracted a wide variety of individuals, including devoted Christians, atheists, Tennessee alumni, and even the Maryville Police Department chapter.
This is entirely consistent. The science and all the thinking just about the science is entirely consistent with what the Bible says, that in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth.
After McIntosh concluded his presentation, he opened the floor for students and guests to ask questions. Everyone who attended was encouraged to help themselves to a coffee, donuts, and a free pamphlet overviewing McIntosh's lecture.
This event encouraged students to dig deep and ask the hard questions. For TVC News, I'm Shay Murphy.
A judicial hearing was held this past Thursday in response to controversy surrounding the lack of special Senate session regarding the Daily Beacon letter to the editor titled, "They're Not All Like That." Students and members of the undergraduate Senate were concerned about some of the hateful language expressed in this letter. The plaintiffs, SGA senators, argued that a special session regarding this issue should have been called by President of the Senate Mackenzie Patterson or Morgan Hartgrove, the Senate chair. A special session can be called in the case of a campus emergency or a special topic. The legislation proposed by the plaintiffs was not turned in on time and thus was one of the several reasons a special session was not called. TVC has a perspective from one of the plaintiffs and both defendants.
So our hope is that a special session will be called if judicial agrees with our argument and rules in our favor. We feel that to this point there still hasn't been any response from SGA. I just think it's important that we remember that while there is freedom of speech and freedom of the freedom of the press does come with the responsibility to discern what is and isn't appropriate. We feel that was unacceptable to then give these types of hateful words any type of platform to be able to reach a lot of people. We feel that was unacceptable.
When we decided to not create a special session, when they read the bylaws, they thought there should have been a special session created. And so since there wasn't and we decided we weren't going to create it, they decided to call us to judicial in response.
And regardless of what happens tonight, I think one thing that we both want to do is we want to work with the Muslim community and the senators who brought us here tonight to make sure that we do address this issue in some capacity.
So the students in SGA lie in pursuing everybody on this campus, and people need different things, and I think the Muslim community on our campus right now needs something very specific, and it's whatever has happened in the past week, that's nothing that we can change now, but what we can do is move forward to pursue these students.
Plaintiff who helped present the argument declined an interview with TVC. The judicial board ultimately decided that a special session should have been called, but no action is being taken against Patterson or Hartgrove.
Coming up after the break, if you walked outside in the past couple of days, you might have noticed a faint fog in the air. TVC's Nancy Daniel has an update on this strange occurrence as well as your weekly forecast.
And the Vols pulled out a blowout win over Tennessee Tech this weekend. TVC Sports Director Elena Emery is in the studio with an update on the big plays of this weekend's homecoming game. You're watching TVC News. Stay with us.
The UT Student Health Center offers a variety of services for students, faculty, and staff of the university. Our full-service pharmacy is staffed with licensed pharmacists who are dedicated to the health and well-being of the UT community. Located on campus across from the Rock, the UT Student Health Center Pharmacy provides the same services offered at large retail chains at your convenience. We accept most insurance plans, so you'll be able to purchase the medication you need for an affordable price. At the University of Tennessee, your health is essential. So come by our pharmacy and remember, a healthy Vol is a happy Vol.
There has been some smoggy smoke on Rocky Top this past week as forest fires have impacted the area due to the ongoing drought. That won't change anytime soon though. Although temperatures have significantly dropped, sunny skies will be present through the start of the week. The high Thursday will be 67 and the low will be 39. The high Friday will be 68 with a low of 44. Temperatures will be a little cooler for the big game Saturday with a high of 60 and a low of 31. Temperatures remain about the same on Sunday with a high of 65 and a low of 40. Monday starts the work and school week with a high of 66 and a low of 40. Tuesday, clouds roll back in with a high of 69 and a low of 44. Showers are finally expected to make their way back in next Wednesday morning. Highs will remain in the mid-60s and lows will stay around the high 30s, so make sure that you take a jacket. Thanks, guys. After last week's news surrounding Jalen Hurd and his plans to transfer, this week in football has been pretty tame. Last Saturday, the Vols took on Tennessee Tech for the 100th homecoming game. The Vols won 55-0, and hopefully they can keep their momentum going as they face Kentucky this weekend. It was announced this week that Evan Berry will be out for the remainder of the season due to a knee injury that happened during the Tennessee Tech game. This is a big loss for the Vols' return game. Coach Butch Jones talks a little bit about the team's prep for Kentucky. Take a look.
Everyone talks about the Wildcat offense, and they do a great job with that, and it's just a sense of physicality with which they play with.
After last week's news surrounding Jalen Hurd and his plans to transfer, this week in football has been pretty tame. Last Saturday, the Vols took on Tennessee Tech for the 100th homecoming game. The Vols won 55-0, and hopefully they can keep their momentum going as they face Kentucky this weekend. It was announced this week that Evan Berry will be out for the remainder of the season due to a knee injury that happened during the Tennessee Tech game. This is a big loss for the Vols' return game. Coach Butch Jones talks a little bit about the team's prep for Kentucky. Take a look. Kickoff is at 12 p.m. on the SEC Network. In other sports news, the Lady Vols have an exhibition win under their belt. On Monday night, they beat Carson Newman 95-56. Redshirt Diamond DeShields had 24 points and 10 rebounds. Redshirt junior Mercedes Russell and junior Jamie Nard also had great games. The three juniors had combined 61 points. Looks like a good start for the Lady Vols, so let's hope they continue on Friday as they hit the road for their season opener against James Madison. Don't forget football this weekend, as the Vols need a big win to keep the hopes of the SEC championship alive. Back to y'all at the desk.
Thanks, Elena. Getting to class every day is a hard enough task for the majority of students at UT.
TVC reporter Ashley Sharp has an inside look at how our campus affects students with disabilities and how this impacts more people than you might think.
Student, SGA senator, and lover of musicals. These are all things that describe senior Elizabeth Hamilton, who also happens to have a visual impairment. Being a student with a disability results in some daily problems getting to and from class.
UT, like a lot of universities, it still has its issues. You know, some of the buildings that were built before the 1991 Americans with Disabilities Act do not fall into code.
About 11% of students at the University of Tennessee have a disability, and each individual person faces access issues that the majority of students may overlook.
We want to be like everyone else on this campus, but at the same time, you know, we do have different challenges that they don't have.
Some of these challenges include a lack of hand railings, automatic doors to buildings, and braille in doorways. But no one experience is the same. Every different disability means a different obstacle to overcome. For Nathan Odom, getting to class can be a bumpy process.
Most of the sidewalks on campus are just kind of charred up and broken. It's a very dangerous hazard, and I've seen and been a part of some accidents just caused by, being on the sidewalk.
One way to resolve these issues is offered by the Office of Disability Services right here in Dunford Hall. It's as simple as filling out a campus accessibility form offered on their website, describing the problem, and submitting it right from your laptop or iPhone.
We do ask our students if they do meet with a challenge here on campus is to notify us.
Annazette Houston is the director for the Office of Disability Services and has worked to make areas like the Torchbearer and the Rock completely accessible and continues to hear student concerns.
What our goal can be is to make sure that moving forward that we make whatever accommodations that we can or adjustments to buildings to make them accessible.
But Hamilton says we can keep making strides, and it all starts with a conversation. Reporting for UT Today, this is Ashley Sharp.
Another way to help solve some of these problems is by respecting handicap restrooms on campus and handicap parking spaces. Students with disabilities know that a little consideration and understanding from their peers can go a long way.
And coming up after the break, we have more campus election coverage as students awaited to hear the announcement of their new president.
And as the temperatures continue to drop, one competition brought out a cold weather favorite in the annual chili cookout. You're watching TVC. Stay tuned.
The UT Student Health Center offers a variety of services for students, faculty, and staff of the university. Our full-service pharmacy is staffed with licensed pharmacists who are dedicated to the health and well-being of the UT community. Located on campus across from the Rock, the UT Student Health Center Pharmacy provides the same services offered at large retail chains at your convenience. We accept most insurance plans, so you'll be able to purchase the medication you need for an affordable price. At the University of Tennessee, your health is essential. So come by our pharmacy and remember, a healthy Vol is a happy Vol.
Welcome back. For many students, this year marked the first time they were able to vote in a presidential election.
And many students jumped on this opportunity. TVC's Savanna Jacoby has more on what students plan prior to the election results.
I'm Savanna Jacoby, and I'm out here on the street getting intel from college students to see if they've early voted or if they're voting today. Have you voted in this year's election?
I have not voted yet. I plan on voting today.
I actually voted maybe a few hours ago.
Yes, I did.
I did a absentee ballot.
Voted early. Yeah, but I plan on voting today.
And in this unfavorable election, both candidates not being liked so much, how do you see this affecting our generation more than it affects any others?
Well, I know there's been a lot more advertisement to get out and vote this year more than any. I know, like, the last election cycle, there was also a lot, but I feel like it's been a lot more. So maybe there'll be a lot more voter participation.
There are going to be a lot of issues in our country more so than there are now, especially as far as like our diversity.
I don't know. It's not as though our political acumen has gone backwards. I think that we've just had more conversation about what people are really thinking. And
because it's going to be important for us when we start our careers, and I think this election will really determine how our future goes.
Oh, not in a good way at all. Not in a good way at all.
Well, as you can see, college students have casted their ballot, and we can only see what the results will say tonight. For TVC News, I'm Savanna Jacoby.
The Howard J. Baker Center had the polls open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Election Day, bringing in students to vote. The Baker Center had a continuous line of voters flowing through to cast their final ballot for the presidential election. Only those assigned to the Baker Center precinct were able to vote at the Baker Center for Election Day. The polls closed at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Shortly after the polls closed, Tennessee Electoral College votes went to the President-elect Donald Trump.
Well, if pizza and s'mores was not enough to bring you to the Friesen Black Cultural Center's election screening, then the on-campus clubs might have made up for that. UT Student Government Association, the Muslim Student Association, and the Religious Studies Association and the Daily Beacon partnered up for election night to screen the results as they slowly came in at the Black Cultural Center. Food and drinks were provided and so was allowed discussion. All students were on edge as they were watching a night of history go down in the books. The final outcome was not announced until 3 a.m. this morning, with Donald Trump coming in at 287 electoral votes, becoming the 45th President of the United States.
University of Tennessee students face more than difficult classes each semester. Some students face hunger and uncertainty regarding their next meal. TVC reporter Beverly Banks has more on the story.
Student Kiera Brooks works 18 hours a week as an office assistant, but she still struggles to afford groceries.
Due to my class schedule and stuff like that, I just don't have time to work like I need to support myself. So I struggle with that every day.
The College Food Bank Alliance study found that in over 26 public universities, 43% of students enrolled in a campus meal plan were still food insecure.
If the administration knew exactly how many students would be affected by, food insecurity, they might want to implement more help when it comes to students that need food assistance.
Brooks says high prices at the campus provisions on-demand grocery market worsen her food insecurity.
A box of cereal at the pod is like $6. And that is ridiculous.
Students use their campus meal plan to pay for food like this cereal. One Vol card swipe may not pay for an adequate meal, but Smokey's Pantry provides hungry students free food. Smokey's Pantry Director Rusty Graham stocks the shelves for guests each week.
They come in and they're able to, if they want a can of green beans and a can of corn, but they don't want applesauce, they just take whatever they want and then they put it in their bags. And then they just go through all the shelves as they go.
Graham says the pantry is open to all students seeking food security.
Insecure college student isn't something that you can just identify looking at people. And that's what we try to do here, is love people through the hard times with food.
Brooks says she is grateful for the pantry.
Not everyone has everything to give, has it all. So just by giving your time to Smokey's Pantry, it really helps us little people.
Food insecurity remains a growing problem on college campuses.
Yes. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah.
For UT Today, this is Beverly Banks reporting.
Smokey's Pantry serves 50 to 70 students per week every Tuesday from 4 to 6 p.m.
Temperatures are getting colder and colder, giving one annual competition time to come out and warm people up.
That's right, and TVC reporter Maneri O'Neill has more on how one winter meal brought people to World's Fair Park. Mary?
This past Sunday, the Second Harvest Food Bank partnered up with Kroger and Bush Brothers and Company to host the 11th annual East Tennessee Chili Cook-Off.
This year's Chili Cook-Off was held on Sunday afternoon at World's Fair Park. There was food, fun, and activities for everyone, including live musical performances, a chili cornhole tournament, and a kids' fun zone with inflatable playhouses. Over 30 teams competed in the cook-off. Each team was required to prepare 25 gallons of chili in advance. Although the cook-off was very competitive as each team was fighting for first place, everyone was excited about raising money for the Second Harvest Food Bank of East Tennessee to stop the fight against hunger. Visitors were encouraged to stop by each tent to sample the different chili recipes and vote on their favorites. First place trophy winner Travis Wolford says he is proud to benefit a great cause.
Fun just getting together with everyone, just seeing the excitement and trying to raise money for a good cause.
And it was actually a lot of fun. There was stuff to do for all ages, and they have the blow-ups for the kids and all the fun games and everything, and I didn't realize how intense the chili cook-off was.
Michaela Lott says she will start making the chili cook-off a yearly tradition.
Yes, of course I plan on attending next year. I'm going to make this an annual thing now. It was a lot of fun, and you got some good food.
Everyone will have to wait until another year for the next annual Chili Fest. Back to you at the desk.
The Office of Alumni Affairs and the Center of Student Alumni Programs is hosting Big Orange Give Week next week. There will be an out on pedestrian walkway from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tuesday through Friday, giving out items, playing games, and signing posters to thank UTK donors. Be sure to go out and show support for those who help make UT the university that it is.
The Division of Student Life Diversity Committee is hosting their final diversity dialogue of their Town Hall series this Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. in A&B Room 32. This panel's topic is on the Tennessee law that generally allows all full-time UT employees with a valid handgun permit to carry a concealed handgun on campus property. Members of the University of Tennessee Police Department, faculty, senate, and students for concealed carry in the Knoxville chapter of MOMS Demand Action for Gun Sense in America will be present at this discussion.
A Veterans Appreciation event will be held in the Haslam Business Building atrium Thursday from 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. This is an event to honor and celebrate those who have served and are serving in the armed forces. The purpose is to empower, pay tribute, remember, and highlight the achievements of these individuals. Refreshments will also be provided.
And I'm really excited about the Big Orange Give Week. I know that the campus is looking for a lot of money because we're always building something up, and I think it's going to be something positive for us this year.
Yeah, that's a great opportunity for people to be able to reach out and just give to other people.
Yeah, and election season just went by, and Donald Trump decided to be president, whether you like it or not, but hey, it's America.
Well, that's going to do it for today's show. I'm Cayla Graner.
And I'm Rowlett. Have a good week.